But with that, let's also invite our first corporate on trading hour today. Quess Corp saw an 11% up move on Wednesday. It's up once again today as well. This after promoters of the company picked up a significant stake by means of reverse book building. So to discuss, we're joined by Ajit Isaac, chairman of Quess Corp, to take some questions on this. Mr. Isaac, thanks a lot for joining us today. This is Pavitra. If I can just begin by asking you about the holding structure right now, if you can take us through what the Isaac family's total holding is, what Fairfax's total holding is, and of course the reason behind, upping your stake.
Sure. So the promoters together, Fairfax and me and my family together, own about 56.5% in Quess today. We've added about, let's say, about 5.5% in the last 1 year or so between the two of us. Fairfax has been investing in India for the last 20 odd years and has a very large book of assets in India, in excess of maybe $7 billion. They're very familiar with the India landscape and the opportunity that India presents. We think that the best of Quess is coming up in terms of the changes that's been made, the assets that we're holding, and the changes in the EPS that's going to come in the future. So I think it represents an opportunity for all investors to ride this process of change that's at Quess.
Mr. Isaac, morning. Rima here. Are you or is Fairfax keen to increase your holding beyond the current levels? Is there a target that you have in mind? Because now it's the new financial year, so you can go ahead and further raise stake via the creeping acquisition route.
So we have an opportunity to do it in the next year, but I don't want to speculate on what we could do for the next year coming up. But suffice it to say that I think we see a good opportunity at Quess because there's a large formalization process in the labor force that's taking place. People are moving from the informal sector to the formal sector. And in fact, at Quess, out of the 350,000 people we've got, close to about 145,000 have got UAN numbers for the first time after they joined us. So clearly, we are a starting point for employees as they start their professional careers in India.
Mr. Isaac, good morning. So, since obviously you're quite optimistic on the business, what's the thought process? Is there a specific level that you have in mind that you would want to take your own shareholding up to as part promoters? And I don't know if you've had that discussion with Fairfax. Could we see you or them keep on increasing stake in the listed company?
So, as an individual, I have an option to go up to 25% without triggering the creeping acquisition norms. Depending on the opportunities that come, we will take a decision and cross the bridge at that point of time. But as of now, we're happy where we are.
Okay, as of now, happy where you are. Mr. Isaac, I'm going to move on and ask some questions about the business as well. Because, we were looking at the revenue growth. It has been coming down from around 33% that you had in Q1. It moved to 32.4. And then in Q3 of FY23, it was around 21. Can you tell us what is the trajectory there? What is the kind of expectation you have for the coming financial year for FY24?
Sure. So let's look back a bit over the last 5 years and then look at this year and then the last 2 quarters. If you look at 18 to 23, our headcount sort of grew from about 250,000 to about 5 lakh. So we've had a CAGR of almost about 20% from 18 to now. In the first half of this year, the economy was growing faster. Employment is largely a function of how the economy is doing, and the IT segment lost a lot of its momentum in the second half. So I think it's fair to say that this is a cyclical change in employment. Quess is affected by that. But from the changes we see in the market, we expect Q1 to be a little better and picking up from there. But even though headcount has grown only by 20%, our revenues have actually grown by 22%. In excess of the headcount. So that's a significant part of our story as well. That revenues are growing faster than headcount. And lastly, our IDC is also coming down. Our IDC, what is potentially at about 8.5% sometime back, dropped to about 6% last year. And next year, we expect it to be about 5.5 to 5.7%. So there's an increase in revenues. We think revenues can go up by between 15 and 18% for next year, and a drop in IDC as well.
So FY24 revenue growth is 15 to 18%, right? That's the guidance.
That's what I think we would be looking for.
All right. Okay, just getting specific about IT, because that's where the pressure is. Has Q4 staffing for the IT segment been as bad as Q3, worse or same? Just some numbers, or has it improved?
So the Q4 numbers are not yet complete as of yet, because the third month's numbers are yet to come in. From what we've seen of Q1 and Q2, mostly it's only been replacement hiring and no incremental hiring in the industry. The services segment has been the most hit. Captives have performed better than services segment. Product, SaaS, and the internet businesses have also been subdued. So I think we should expect Q4 to be in line with what was in Q3.
Okay. Mr. Isaac, just to work on your efforts to shore up margins, which have been, on the lower side between 3 and 4%. I mean, they've trended closer to 3 than to 4 in the last couple of quarters. And I believe you roped in BCG for, some kind of strategic initiatives. So what's the progress there? And do you see some tangible impact? Can you give us some sort of a tangible guidance in terms of by the end of this exercise, how much can the needle be moved on the margin profile?
So what it will result in will be in a set of actions that the management has to take over a period of maybe between next 12 and 18 months time. So the results will play out over a longer period of time. But having said that, our goalposts are clear. We want to reduce our IDC. We want to increase our margins from, we were at 3.2, 3.3 in Q3, aiming to go up to about 3.5, and then thereon from there to about 4 to 4.5. So if we can stabilize at about 4 to 4.5, I think it's a good margin rate for a business services company. In addition to increasing margins, we also have to work at a DSO. Our DSO is currently at about 62 days. I think if we can lop off about 2 to 4 days from that, that will increase the amount of cash coming into the company. So these are two specific actions that we have to take in terms of operations. The third one is in terms of the shape of the portfolio that we've got. There are some assets that we may want to monetize. We've already monetized one asset about 6 to 8 months ago. We may do a couple of them again over the next 1 year's time, and that will again change the way our portfolio looks. Lastly, Monster has had a peak burn of 100 crores this year. So depending on whatever EBITDA we finish at this year, it will include a 100 crore burn for Monster, which was not there previous year. So that will come down for the next year. It will come down to almost half of that for the next year. And that will therefore add that much more profits to the company. So all of this together will increase our EPS significantly for the next year.
So you're targeting to go up to about 4.5. That's sort of the objective over the next 12 to 18 months. You mentioned asset monetization. So what is this monetization pipeline like? I mean, is there a value that you have already ascribed to it? And is there any asset that you have closed in on, which perhaps could be first off the block, say, in the next 1 to 2 quarters?
This is work in progress. The BCG assignment will get over only by maybe the middle of May. So it will be a clearer picture on which of the assets that we would like to monetize will emerge by then.
So is there any EPS growth that you have in mind? Because your top line will be growing at 15 to 18%, but there will be margin expansion. The cash burn in Monster will come down by half. So what will this mean in terms of an EPS growth, according to you?
So we think that there is a potential to grow EPS between 30 and 40%, at least in the year coming up.
All right, Mr. Isaac, we're going to leave it at that today. Thank you very much for taking out the time and speaking to us about this recent, stake that you've picked up, as well as the outlook for the business. That is the management of Quess Corp telling us that the promoters now own 56.5% in the company. For now, they're comfortable with that. They're not looking to, increase the stake right now. As far as the revenues go, they're looking at 15 to 18% for the coming financial year.
EPS or a profit growth of 30 to 40%, right? So that's quite significant.
Quite significant there. And he's sounding very positive on the business as well. Although, of course, there are pressures in individual segments like IT, like you mentioned. So that is the management of Quess Corp.